Live to hear what the spokesperson for the party, Pule Mabe, has to say.
Members of the media and others who are following and watching and listening on this out at home all over the Republic of South Africa, and others who are receiving feed from the many foreign media agencies that are here. We thought it's necessary that we talk to yourselves in this way with my good comrade Mzwandile Masina. You would all know that when Comrade Kgalema, who's the chairperson of the Electoral Committee, came out to announce the names of those that would have qualified to contest the position of Treasurer General, both myself and Comrade Mzwandile would have qualified to contest for the position of Treasurer General. We are both thankful of the endorsement that we had received from the many branches that saw us fit enough to become national officials of the ANC. That we appreciate greatly. So throughout we have always worked together, supported common causes in Gauteng, even in the country. In 2012, when I was elected for the first time in the National Executive Committee of the ANC, amongst others, it was Comrade Mzwandile who came through and engaged me on a perspective at the time. And that perspective had to do with the second term of President Zuma, and again electing Comrade Gwede Mantashe as the Secretary General. We're having our own differences in the ANC Youth League as it relates us to the preferences that we wanted to take to the 53rd National Conference of the ANC. These comrades of Ekurhuleni, Comrade Mzwandile Masina, Comrade Nkosi Mkhize, and many others, created a platform through which we'll be able to talk to structures of the ANC, structures of the ANC Youth League to advance this. It did not occur to me at the time that I will be elected and serve in the National Executive Committee of the ANC. These cadres pointed me to my branch. They said, you could be having differences with the structure of the ANC Youth League nationally. At that time I was facing a suspension as Treasurer General of the ANC Youth League because of our internal differences. I would have advised the Youth League against going for an outright contestation of both President Zuma and Secretary General Gwede Mantashe. Out of their council, I went to my branch, Ward 96 in Johannesburg, and became a delegate of that branch to the 53rd National Conference of the ANC in Mangaung. I remember at one point, names of those who are contesting are usually written on lists and circulated. The first list was printed. Myself and Mzwandile will remind each other of this story every time we speak. And on that list, my name was missing. So Comrade Mazwai ran mad and said, no, if this is being done, it means we'll have to pull out the Gauteng delegation and withdraw our support. Comrade Panyaza was there, Comrade Nomvula was there, the leadership of the province were there. They were told that voting was stopped for some time up until our names were included. No, I can't remember if it was on the ballot or on the yes, what we spoke about this morning. We spoke about Skebezari this morning. So ultimately the name was put in. Lobbying continued. I remember at one stage myself and Mazwai met young delegates to that conference who were members of the Youth League who were busy writing my name, literally handwriting the name on the list to tell others which name they need to vote for. And that's how we ultimately went into the National Executive Committee. The same happened again in 2017 when we came here to Nasrec for the 54th National Conference of the ANC. It was Comrade Mzwandile, Comrade TK, cadres of the province, led by the region of Ekurhuleni, because Mzwandile was a chairperson of the region at the time, that again supported us to be in the National Executive Committee, including on the sort of kind of resolutions that we needed to drive forward. Besides us having led together in the Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC Youth League in 2008 here in Gauteng, we went on to enjoy a relationship not just of comradeship, of friendship. We shared ideas on how we needed to shape the direction that the organization needed to take. I remember when Comrade Mazwai was in government and needed to do his own state of the city address. When he would attend to certain issues, would always say, but Pule, communication is your area. Just look at this and advise if we are following what the ANC want us to do. And this was amongst a few cadres who will do that in government, to make sure that whatever they pronounce doing their work in government is consistent with what the ANC has directed and mandated them to do. So coming to this conference, having been nominated in the manner and way that I shall have outlined, we then agreed that after engagement with our leadership, our own engagement, both as friends and as comrades, that what we want, our intended objective is common. And because of that intended objective, Musa, you keep taking your hand up is disturbing me while I'm busy speaking here. So we should have had a microphone. So ordinarily, these are doorstops. So the hands are just... So having done that and with what I've just outlined, we then agreed that, Comrade Mazwai, our mission is the same. What we want to see happening in the ANC is common. The kind of desired leadership structure that we want to come out of the 55th National Conference is again common. It is only prudent that it is not our own contestation that ultimately works to undermine the very common objective and common mission that we want to achieve. Let us unite our people. The very unity that we talk about must be seen through ourselves. And what was the first option? It would not be ideal for us to contest for the same position together. That where space exists, and having engaged with the leadership, and one of us ends up arriving at a determination that they don't have to make themselves available. If it's you, Pule, the space I will create will be for Comrade Mzwandile Masina, and vice versa. We have said that we are not going to allow anyone or others to think that they can emerge out of what they think could be possible divisions. There are no divisions. We are very much united. And what we want is common. And what we want is going to emerge out of this conference. It is for that reason, having consulted with the leadership of our province, which went on to embrace the direction we had taken, that we felt that we must come to yourselves and convey this decision. That whatever we do in this conference is not going to lead to us being in one contest. We are going to be on one line, and our message to structures is going to be one. So, Comrade Zwai, you can come through. So I know I just had to give that background so that these comrades don't think that there was a 2 feet elsewhere and we just wanted to come and... there is background to this.
Pule is traumatizing the journalist. They want to know.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks very much, Comrade Pule. Let's thank members of the media. As Comrade Pule was saying, that in the ANC we don't stop engaging until the last minute. We have been engaging with the leadership of provinces, the leadership of Gauteng, and we have agreed that we should support Comrade Pule as the TG. We've demobilized, as you know, that we all had fully fledged campaigns going on in the structures of the organization. So we've agreed to give him support. Unfortunately, at the time we agreed, comrades, so that we can clarify this, the ballot was printed and some people were already voting. But we've demobilized so that we don't divide our support. in as far as the outcome in the position of the Treasurer General is concerned. We were not under any duress. We were not instructed by any bishops, as we call them in the ANC, to take this decision. It is in the best interest of the generation that we work together to ensure that we can achieve a broader objective, because what we need in the ANC now is change. Things cannot continue the same way they have been, and we've seen that many of our people, if you look at those who are being bought, it's because they are victims of the African National Congress that is not creating necessary jobs. Because as a self-respecting man, even though I'm joining the unemployment queue as of the 1st of January, I will not be taking 1,000 rand from another man to vote this way or that way. So the ANC has to do things differently. That's why we want change. Me and Pule, Comrade Pule, we agree that we need change in this conference, which is going to help majority of South Africans who are unemployed, who are facing hunger every day, who are destitute, who do not know what to do. So I think that that's the message that we wanted to convey, that when you see the outcome of the election of the conference, in as far as the position of the TG, just be mindful that we had taken a view that we all support Comrade Pule, given the reasons that he has stated. We want to thank those branches of the ANC that gave us this opportunity to serve. As you know, that I am one of the few leaders who came from the region who actually had a stronger showing in as far as the list is concerned. I was not in the NEC. I was in the NEC 3-4 years ago. I'm not in the NEC, but I could pull a national campaign to be where we are. So we thought that it is decent to say thank you to the branches of the ANC. We are going to have a lot of roles to play in the African National Congress beyond just the office of the Treasurer General. So he said to me, when he emerges, he will invite me to his office to share some of the exciting ideas that we are having in terms of what needs to happen in the ANC, so that the ANC is not a destitute organization, as it were. So I think that's the message that we wanted to communicate, unless there are questions. Thank you very much.
Can we just ask a question?
No, thanks,
will the votes now be merged, or will one of you be eliminated, or how will it practically work?
Ziana?
It's Ziyanda Ngcobo from Newsroom Africa. Mr. Masina, do you think that the conversations that, first of all, what led to the Gauteng leadership calling the two of you together to have this discussion, seeing that you're saying it took place once your names were already on the ballot? But two, how then in those discussions did you eventually, and on what factors were used to determine that it must be Pule Mabe over yourself? And do you think that the final decision to go with Mr. Pule Mabe over you is as a result of what's taken place in Ekurhuleni, you ultimately also getting that letter from the leadership and that frayed relationship with someone you worked closely with, that's the former regional secretary who's now the provincial secretary, TK Neza?
Well, I think this discussion is our own discussion, firstly. Because we have a common agenda to serve, we felt that over time, this is one thing that we cannot afford. But secondly, ANC is a democratic organization. If you look at the nominations, especially of the like-minded, it was logical that when we come to reach this particular decision, to support police. I don't think that there is any issues of personality clashes, as you suggest, with anybody, including the provincial secretary of the ANC. Neither it has to do with what happened in the municipality. ANC is a living organization. Every day we make decisions that impact on the lives of others. So we have to be mindful at all times as and when we make those particular decisions.
What basis did you use to determine yourself?
Yes, that's what.
What were you looking at?
No, the capacity is the same. We have big heads together, so you can see that's not a problem. The issue, we were to look at the internal democratic process of the organization to come to that determination. So we then said we'll then pull all our forces together towards the right direction. Comrade Pule supports Zweli Mkhize for president. He will be going now to vote for Zweli Mkhize. He supports Paul Mzwandile for DP. He supports Phumulo Masualle for SG. He supports the first DSG, Nomvula Mukonyane. and Comrade Ronaldo for the second DSG, as well as Comrade Stan Matabata for National Chair and himself. And I'm sure he will vote for himself. I'll also vote for him. So that's the basis in which we've agreed. But if you like, you could ask another question: why Pule? Why the other one? The answer is simple. It's because we are like-minded in terms of what we would like to see with regard to change, issues of change.
Sorry, there was a question that you asked around the merging of numbers and all of that. So, to follow through on what Comrade Zweli has elaborated on, because we are like-minded, we also commandeer a common constituency in the African National Congress. We come from the same ranks of the ANC Youth League. We lead almost the same structures. Our social infrastructure is the same. Our political infrastructure is the same. It is not in our interest to participate or be part of anything that might undermine the very unity that we have kept alive all these years. And we have seen some positives out of our own unity. That's why we needed to embrace it, so that we do not move from what we needed to convey. I think that Comrade Zweli has managed, briefly, more succinct, to say to yourselves why we called you. So we want to thank all of you, thank branches of the ANC that have expressed this kind of confidence in us, and tell them that when we emerge from this conference, we will make sure that the program that comes out of here does the things that Zweli spoke about, which is drive forward radical economic transformation. Make sure that we create jobs, real jobs for our people. Where possible, work to safeguard our own coal-fired power stations. Because if you look at a province like Mpumalanga, many of the communities there are reliant on those coal-fired power stations, because we are endowed with minerals. So this leadership has got as a duty, as it talks about transitioning to a climate resilient economy, to also look at how it protects that economy there in Mpumalanga. So those are part of some of the things that we'll also be putting forward here. Our desire is not just about being elected in leadership. One thing that you must know about Zweli, and I can say this as his comrade, is that his biggest obsession in conferences is always moving around with resolutions. Always in a pocket, some draft resolution there. What do you think about this? And that's what we came to do even here. The things, the ideas that we want to drive forward are part of the resolutions that we're going to sponsor in commissions. We're here for that. Leadership is not the primary issue that drives our participation in these gatherings. So thank you very much, members of the media. We've clarified yourselves, so we don't want to end up veering into other issues that we did not call you for. Raleboch.
Some changes then to how the configuration in terms of who is vying for that top position of Treasurer General in the ANC. We had our own discussions. We had a common agenda to serve. We are like-minded. Pule Mabe, again, selling himself, I think, to some extent in terms of lobbying for that position. Bongiwe Zwane and our team, who is looking at the way social media is reacting to a number of the themes that you've been hearing over the last day, are up next. And Bongiwe, one of the key questions there is, it started off in this sort of weird fireside chat, which Pule Mabe said was important to provide some background, but one wonders, whether it was appropriate to use the platform to sell his own ticket and his own virtue when there are other contenders also running for the same position.